What's going on, guys? It's Greg Farley, aka Pegasus from the Wisefire Alliance. Before we jump into this video, this deck profile, this deck profile, I just wanted to say happy holidays to everyone. And I also wanted to remind anyone that heard my video the other day, I'm repeating it now. We are doing a charity tournament between us, the Wisefire Alliance, and Petty Panda Takeover. Two good teams in the Midwest. We wanted to do a charitable kind of cause where we're competing against each other, and we're also going to leave links down in the comments below on this video so that you can possibly donate. It can be a 1 penny, it can be as much as you want. You know, it's just the holiday season. We just want to give back. 1 in 3 is a charity for people that have died to drunk driving accidents, which is a noble cause, definitely an awful thing. And then everybody is kind of familiar with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is helping kids with terminal illnesses. So it's a really cool cause, and I just wanted to mention that before I start off with the deck profile. Now, to the pendulum deck I've been playing. I played it a little bit differently than almost anybody, but it's still pretty much the same thing. You can't really vary from the game plan, as the homie Triff always says. And this is Appaloosa before I even begin. I don't have it. It's in the mail, and it's holiday season, so you can kind of tell where that went. But getting into it, I've been talking enough. Getting into it, triple servant, and yes, shout out to the homies for hooking me up with the supers. They knew what I was looking for, and they knew that I wanted them. I wanted them more than any of the ultis, and they look so good. Servant is servant. I'm playing 3 Master Endymion now. A lot of people are playing 2. I still feel like 3 just because I always want to see him, and he's such a big beater, and it's another negate. Like, I understand it can conflict with consistency, or they can start running into each other in your hand, but I still like him at 3, so it's just my thing. Also at 3, but it would be one of the first cuts I'd probably make, is 3 Curtain Raiser. I just like making Dweller a little bit more often, and I cut off a lot of the level 4 mythical beasts, well, the ones that other people are playing. I'm just not playing it because I don't feel like you need them, but you can always cut this card. So if you're going to make a cut to this deck, I would think it would be here, or another card that's coming up pretty soon. 3 Chrono and the Time Gazer. Speaks for itself. Another monster on the board in multiple ways. Then we get to the, whew, you see it, the blue boy. Shout out to the homies in Kansas City for getting me the ulti. Been looking for it, nobody had it, and finally got it yesterday. Yeah, whew. Just the ability, and shout out to Ezekiel, because he's the one that got me back, put me back on game, because I stopped playing this, and then I would watch my friends play, and I'd be like, it's not that good. And then I would watch somebody play it again, I'd be like, okay, that's really good. And it's kind of, it enables you to keep going and going and going and going and going, which is kind of the prevailing theory. If you don't like it, you don't like it, because it doesn't equal Electromite, but man, does he equal spells, and that's the whole point to the deck. So yeah, and then you got to flex with the ulti. The Mythical Beast package, 1 Garuda. I'm not playing the other one that draws your card, because I just don't feel like that card is good. 2 Master Cerberus. I also feel like you could cut one of these, but then you want to see this, so that's why I'm playing 2. Shout out to 3 Stacks for the autograph on this. We played at YCS Dallas. One of the best matches I've ever played in my life. You know, he comboed for like 14 minutes. I OTK'd him the next game. It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So that's the story behind that. The 2 Cerberus are just dope, though. Make sure you guys subscribe to Team King of Games, aka 3 Stacks. It's a really cool dude, really cool page. Double Jackal King. I understand 3. I understand why people feel the need, but no. 2 is my opinion is correct. And then Double Magister. He needs the hollow treatment now. He's so much better than people understand, and he allows you to keep going and going and going and going. And this deck, it really relies on, I feel like it's the power, the hidden power in this deck is being able to do things. I'm sorry, I'm moving them around. Being able to do things outside of the pendulum summon that almost feel like you're pendulum summoning before you do it or after you do it. So that's my opinion on this, and this card is definitely one of the strongest enablers on that. Double Reflection. I used to say 1, and you have to not misplay with this card. This card is one of the only cards you can really misplay in the entire deck, and I did it one time in the past like 2 weeks, and it's the only match that I lost. This card is nuts. It is Kieran-ish, and anything that is sort of like Kieran but not quite, it's just too good, man. Being able to bounce the Super Poly, I learned that from Paul Cooper, shout out to him. Just being able to bounce the Super Poly, it happens an awful lot. Now, granted, you can walk right into back row like there can be only one if this is in your deck in game 2 and 3, or if you're playing those back row decks. But being able to bounce cards, being able to special a Jackal that's stuck in your hand and put a counter on it, it's just a further extender. So, you know, that's enough talking about stuff that you already know. 3 mastery. You have to play 3. Sometimes they run into each other, so you want to see this card, but you don't want to see multiples because then it become dead. But it's one of the most powerful cards, spell cards in the game, definitely. And then where I varied is I'm playing Into the Void in this Spellbook deck. Now, a lot of people are like, can you play them together? Because I just feel like why not? Why would you not play this card in a deck that's designed to play this card? I can't figure that out, and for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out. So I thought, why not play it? And it worked out exactly like I thought it would. And even if you don't see the card, you're not tripping, you know, because you got these guys and the knowledge. So I feel like one blue boy, one of these, 2 of these is correct, because this can search everything. This is the one and the blue boy is the other one. So you always want the card that searches almost everything to be the highest number. That's math, and I'm not that great of a deck builder, but I'm pretty sure that's just common sense. 2 allures, 2 desires, not 3, because multiple allures you'll want to keep that card in your hand and then use it, and you don't want to just lose it to banishing it because you got kind of greedy, which can happen with allure. And while you're playing a lot of darks, you don't want to banish some of the stuff that you draw in your hand. But if you banish a Curtain Raiser, it's always a good thing, unless you really want to make Dweller. And then Upstart, Secret Village, and Terraforming. This is weird. I feel like one of those cuts, this would be a second Secret Village. Citadel isn't good. It feels really good. Like, the card feels really good, but it's just not all that good, period. It's just not. The brick within itself is why you can't really play it, just my opinion. So one of those cuts, make a cut somewhere over there in the deck, and then make a second Secret Village. Just my opinion. And the Upstart is the Upstart. And then this card, this is from Ezekiel, just 'cause I saw him playing it, and I'm like, why is he playing it? Really, I saw it. I saw my friend Brandon, shout out to Brandon, aka Joey Wheeler. He's the homie, one of my closest friends on the face of the planet. He was playing this in Gravekeepers, and I was like, wow, this card is really stupid. And then I read it again, and then I saw it in Ezekiel's deck, and I went, huh, he's playing it. And then I saw it in Jeremy Mitchell's deck profile, and I said, huh, he's playing it. And then I went, they're playing it because, and I also kind of lift it up so you guys can see it. But the card says, when a monster, except a spellcaster monster in parentheses, is normal or special summoned to your opponent's side of the field while you control another face-up spell card, which is usually Secret Village or a Pendulum Scale, and your opponent does not control any face-up spell cards, that monster cannot attack or activate its effects this turn. It applies even if this card isn't even there anymore, it leaves the field. If you do not control any spellcaster monsters, destroy it. So the second you don't control a spellcaster, you destroy it, which isn't going to happen because you run all spellcasters. The additional point with this card is big endymion, big homie, is going to negate half the time. Like, this is always going to be in your scale, so you're never not going to have a face-up spell card. This is going to prevent people from getting stuff on the board with spells. And then, just in case they get around it, aren't you just going to have a Jackal anyway? And it feels like it may be win more. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But if you have this, and maybe like a Secret Village over here, and then this card somewhere, and then just an average board, they're not going to be able to play. I've watched it happen. I've done it in maybe 4 or 5 matches. They picked the cards up, the game was over. And literally it was just negate the spell, negate another spell, negate another, you know, like you just negate a spell, and then that's probably it. Literally is probably it. And then sometimes I'm even drawing off Electromite by bouncing the scale. So it's like, there's so much stuff going on that, like, I feel like this card is absolutely insane. And again, it all came from watching one of my close friends play Gravekeepers. So that's the story behind that card. I think people knew about it already, but in case you didn't, you just saw it. And it's not my idea. I really, it's shout out to my homie and shout out to Ezekiel and a lot of the other homies. Side deck, you got to. You have to. And Danko is so ridiculously unfair. And so is Evenly. And I hate back row, so like I really hate back row, so I like really try to go all the way out. I don't like 3 reboot. It just never works out for me. Hopefully they give us Harpy's Feather Duster, or they give us that new card that's like Reigeki Harpy's Feather Duster in the same card soon. And then maybe you don't have to play reboot, but for now, you know, you don't lose the anti-spell with this card, and then just being able to make your opponent flip a judgment and then flip this over and then kill them behind that is gross. And then there's going to be some text that I'm playing that combo with this card, so it's going to be really cool. Lost my focus for a second. And 3 Dark Rulers. This card is really good, and I feel like now it's even better because of Master Rule 5. I'm not doing a video on that because I don't need to. Not really a discussion channel like that anyway. But even so, I'm pretty sure people already know that this card is going to be a hell of a lot better than it was, just like Dimensional Barrier will be, just like so many other cards, so many other decks. I really feel like it was a healthy idea for Konami to do, but it's also going to be kind of cancerous if they don't check it with the ban list correctly. So we got 2 ban lists to do it between now and April 1st. And April Fool's Day does not exist in the OCG, in Japan and Asia and all that stuff. So yeah. This card is only going to get better, so I feel like it's probably a mainstay, at least in this deck. These should be something else, but Lancia, every time I play this card, it gets called by the grave, so, you know, I guess it's just there for that reason, just to get called by the grave. But if they don't have it, or if, you know, usually I have the Endymion to negate that, but if they don't, you know, I've ended with like a Jackal and something, or they're just able to just play out of it. But if I have the full board with this, then it's lock up. But then I'm kind of risking that the rest of my cards were good enough for this to be good in my hand. Nibiru, I don't want to like get destroyed by a good deck like Salamangreat. Salamangreat's a really good deck. A lot of the decks that this beats, I kind of feel like I already beat, but like Salamangreat is the main reason why, because I respect the hell out of that deck. And a really good player with Salamangreat in their hands, you want Nibiru. That's just my opinion. This is Appaloosa, as I said before. Masquerena, Avermax. Yeah, Masquerena is nuts. There's really nothing really else to say. It's nuts. And then it really combos off well with Magister of Endymion, which is the level, this 8 scale. It combos off really well because you'll make this and you'll loop a card back on the field, and you'll link up into this, or you'll link up into Appaloosa, and you just keep going and going and going and going, which is absolutely insane. You feel like you got to play the beat cop just to have something that you didn't waste. Borolo doesn't have to be there, but I like being able to just smack Thunder Dragon in the face. Boral Sword, Nightmare Phoenix, and Unicorn to go along with the Masquerena, and also just get rid of stuff, because sometimes you just have to get rid of stuff, period. Crowley, you play this when you don't need to make Electromite quite then, and you want to go grab the Spellbook engine. This card is the card that you make before you Pendulum Summon, or even after you Pendulum Summon if you want to keep going and going and going. You just have to use 2 Spellcaster monsters, but man, this card is really good. It took me a second to like catch the tempo of when you're supposed to play the card, but once you catch it, you'll understand it so supremely. It's not even funny. Scoldred. Yeah, Tornado Dragon. I do want to draw like that, so that's why I'm playing it. And I also want to play that Unchained card that blows stuff up because it combos off with some other stuff. But Tornado Dragon also does. I like rebooting stuff and then picking it off. With Tornado Dragon, it comes up a lot. I'm not in love with these two. They don't really ever get made in this deck because I don't feel like I want to take off Endymion unless I know they have Super Poly. But usually if they do, I either play around it with Reflection, or because I don't want to walk into it, or so on and so forth. And then you got Dweller, and you got the greatest of all time. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you check those links down in the comments for those charities. Those links will be down in the comments. And I'm not asking for anything. You know, whatever you can do. If you don't want to donate, that's fine. It's just, I'm doing it just because we want to do that during the holiday season. Appreciate you guys. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, so on and so forth. YG baby, I'm out.